morning, Ospreys. Ryan Hennessy alongside Alex Gatlin, center court with Matthew Driscoll. Alex is here. Coach isn't. Alex, how was your spring break?
Oh, it was fantastic. I did nothing. I just relaxed, sat around, so that was nice. How about yourself?
It was good. It was good.
It was good? You enjoyed yourself?
I went
Good
on a cruise. It was a great time. It was a great time.
All right.
But we're going to get an NFL offseason, obviously, these past couple of weeks. A lot of stuff has been happening, but Robert Griffin III is still,
Unsigned.
I guess, unsigned. Where's he going? Where's he looking? I know he was talking to New York for a little bit. They're saying maybe Denver wants him with that move of Brock Osweiler. Where do you see him landing?
Well, there's been a couple landing spots for him right now. San Francisco's been one. The Browns, though, have been the one that has had the most interest. They are trying to get him signed, and they're trying to get him signed this week, which would be a huge deal for the Jaguars, actually, because if the Browns don't take a quarterback at that number 2 spot, who are the Jags going to get?
Yeah, because you have all those players moving up one.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would go Ramsey maybe 3, then you would go Bosa 4, and then Ramsey 2 possibly.
Possibly, because they just lost Tayshaun Gibson to the Jags.
Yes, so they see Ramsey moving up, then you could have Mac go 4 to the Cowboys, and then we're kind of stuck. Will we reach for, like a corner at 5? But moving on, RG3, I know. Would you go Denver? Would Denver do that? Do you think
that would be a big switch up from what they've had in years past? They're used to the John Elway sit back there and rocket it in, the Peyton Manning's throwing for a lot of yards. So let's see if they can get in there and maybe get an option type quarterback. But I think what might be a good landing spot for him is San Francisco. You go there, you get in Chip Kelly's offense. He's exactly what you're looking for. His offense, while you're going to have him running a little bit, is going to keep him a little bit more protected than he was in Washington. So I think for not just the Jags, but RG3 himself, San Francisco is the place to go. But they still do have Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Colin Kaepernick going to – he's in San Fran, but he wants a trade. But would you trade him for another guy just like him? Is it worth it? Is it worth, trading him? I don't think – he's got a pretty big salary trying to move him. RG3's a free agent. He was released, so he could sign wherever he wants.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Kaepernick has to go where they put him.
Yeah.
What do you think's the best fit for Kaepernick, or is it back in San Francisco?
Well, surprisingly, I do think it's back in San Francisco. Chip Kelly's actually said, if I was to go somewhere else other than San Francisco, I was going to try and trade for Colin Kaepernick. Now we know that the Browns were interested a little bit, not so much anymore, because they're trying to sign RG3, not have that big of a contract as they do with Colin Kaepernick. But you could totally see him going to a team like the Jets, or even Denver. Denver looks like a good landing spot right now.
They like him in Denver.
They
like him in Denver. The one thing with Denver that I don't understand is what they're doing with their quarterback situation. They lost Brock Osweiler, but what I think John Elway said is, I'm not going to overpay you. I'm not going to overpay you. You played 7 games for us. You're not Peyton Manning. So they signed with a 6th-round pick. They took Mark Sanchez. So that's their guy right now. Are they going to go through the draft? Is Mark Sanchez going to be their guy? He, I mean, obviously not in the long term, but do you see him starting week 1?
No, he's not even their guy right now.
You don't think week 1 he starts?
No, they are going. So what's going to happen is that Denver is desperately looking at Connor Cook and Christian Hackenberg.
Okay.
Those are the 2 guys, because we know that Goff probably won't be there. We know that
Wentz won't be there.
Wentz won't be there. There's a possibility that Lynch won't be there either. So looking at Cook, looking at Hackenberg, those are the 2 guys that could be the key for Denver moving forward. But it's not just the quarterback. They've been jettisoning a lot of pieces. They lost Malik Jackson. They lost, what's his name?
Trevathan,
Trevathan,
the linebacker.
To the Chicago Bears. So there's a lot of things that they need to do. They almost lost C.J. Anderson
to Miami. So my question, though, is to you, is you're telling me, can Hackenberg start right away? And that's why I asked the week 1 question. Is he going to start week 1? Because I don't see Hackenberg starting right away. I see like maybe a Blake Bortles situation, maybe couple games in, but I think Mark Sanchez might start week 1 for them.
He might. It's tough to put him out there. He might, but I wouldn't.
But here's the thing: is he had a good defense, and I think that the Jets were a perfect team for him. And look at the defense in Denver.
But he also had a solid running game too. So, I mean, he's really going to have to rely on C.J. Anderson, who he's been good, but he's been inconsistent in his play. So Mark Sanchez needs a good running game to be successful at the quarterback position. He's had a little bit of problems in the past. We all know about the butt fumble.
Everyone knows about the butt fumble.
But he did have some good seasons. you know, overall, his touchdown to interception ratio,
It's pretty 50-50. I mean, it looks like
he does
it.
have more touchdowns than interceptions, but they're
Barely.
very close. It's only by 2. So
I think he's been in the big spotlight. He's been in the playoffs, and that's right now. That's a nice. I think John Elway can breathe a little bit. I mean, they had no one before
they might
this.
bring John Elway back.
But he has more experience than Brock Osweiler.
Yeah.
I mean,
he does. But does he have the tools to compete with this team? You know, there's a lot of good players on this team and a lot of good players on the offense too, not just the defense.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But moving on, Jaguars made some moves, and I liked it. I was at the Beach Bars Thursday night, 2 Thursday nights ago, and I met Malik Jackson. The first day he went out, I told my buddy, I'm like, he's going to be out there. He signed a $90 million contract.
He's going to be out there.
I talked about having him on our show. He said he's about it. So maybe more towards the season we'll have him on our show. But Malik Jackson, what do you think besides him? What was the biggest win for the Jaguars?
Biggest win would have to be Tayshaun Gibson.
I completely agree.
For the last couple years now, the Jags have lacked at the free safety position, and that's what they really needed. They've made Cyprien kind of play 2 positions because whoever's been playing free safety, whether it's, I guess, Josh Evans,
no one's been
really,
playing.
He's kind of had to play 2 positions, and that hurts your, good players
Absolutely.
like Cyprien. It makes Cyprien, who is a great guy, I met him once, fantastic guy, came from Florida International, actually.
Yeah.
So, small school guy, makes them look like they're not that good because he's having to, cover for other guys because he doesn't want the big play to happen. But, I think that's a great signing because that gives him a guy that he can rely on. I also, this is a weird thing that I like, but I like the signing of Brad Norton, the punter.
What?
Yeah, I think Brad Norton is going to be a good piece because our I think Anger was a little too overpaid at the time, and now we get a guy in here who's had some experience who can really put it down on in the 5-yard line and pin guys deep. So that'll be good for the special teams for the Jags.
You see them making moves right here. I mean, all these people that we got. I like Gibson too. Chris Ivory, I want to see him change it up a little bit with the run game, a little bit more power runner. But I don't want the handoffs to. I want them to still have Yeldon be the number 1. I don't think that's going to happen. Ivory was in the Pro Bowl last year.
I still think that Yeldon will be the number 1 in Jacksonville, but it gives you that change of pace.
Yeah.
Yeldon is that more shifty runner. He looks for the holes, whereas Ivory just wants to get in there and really pound it in. So I think you get a good mix of players in there for that running game.
And we talk about the offensive line. Talk to me about what you think the moves that they're making, because they just signed, a left tackle, a guard.
They got Kelvin Beachum from the Steelers, a young left tackle. He's going to come in, probably take over for Luke Jokel. The question now becomes,
Finally.
The question now becomes, what happens to Luke Jokel?
Got a lot of contract money on him. I mean, you got to get rid of him somehow. Is anyone going to take that money?
It's not like we need the cap space.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we can always take more cap space.
But does other people want to take
exactly.
that guy? So we're going to take a quick break. Jaguars made some moves. Talk about some NCAA after this.
There's one thing you should know about me. I specialize in a very specific type of security. Subconscious security.
You're talking about dreams.
Mr. Cobb has a job offer he would like to discuss with you.
Like a work placement?
Not exactly.
We create the world of the dream. We bring the subject into that dream, and they fill it with their secrets.
Then you break in and steal it.
Well, it's not strictly speaking legal. It's called Inception. Already. I think I found a way home.
And this last job, that's how I get there.
Dreams feel real while we're in them. It's only when we wake up that we realize something is actually strange.
This was your responsibility. You're not prepared for this. The dream's collapsing.
control. I'd hate to see out of control.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
No, Kevin. Mere due, aspetta. No, mere due, aspetta. Baccalo. Baccalo!
Walter, look! These adorable little freaks are headed to Orlando, too.
You're going to VillainCon, aren't you?
VillainCon! I'm gonna get all my favorite villains to sign my magazine. Scarlet Overkill! If I was a minion, that's who I'd want to work for. God, bloody and God!
Welcome to VillainCon, the biggest gathering of criminals anywhere.
Any evil talents?
Not bad!
What about you? Any evil talents?
Hello! La la la, la la la. Eh?
That's not evil or a talent.
Ah!
Ladies and gentlemen, the supervillain we've all been waiting for, Scarlet Overkill!
Doesn't it feel so good to be bad?
Work for me, and all your dreams come true.
Respect. Power.
Banana!
Banana.
Wow, these cats are pumped.
Maybe I'll settle them down with a bedtime story.
Bedtime party?
Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs. The pigs encountered a big, bad wolf who hired the 3 pigs to come work for her. One day, the pigs did something very stupid. So the wolf huffed and puffed, and she blew them off the face of the earth! The end.
It feels good in my brain. Cops.
Sorry about things just got out of hand.
Yeah, that's the way it was with my first husband.
It's Dale.
Come on up.
Buzz it in 3 seconds, exactly.
On 1, 2, 3, go.
Just on 3.
It's been 2 months you've been coming to me, right? What's up with the suit?
I'm a process server.
You're a servant? Like a butler?
No.
Shine shoes?
I'm a what? No, I serve out like subpoenas. I gotta wear like disguises sometimes.
Disguise? Wish I had an easy job like you have.
You have the easiest job on earth. You smoke all day. Dude.
Who's that?
Oh my god! They saw me see them shoot the...
What? They saw you?
No.
Did they follow you in?
I don't know. Let's get out of here. Get the snacks, food, for roll-ups.
We are gonna hunt these guys down. Dale, Saul, we're gonna kill them all.
This is so exciting.
Whoa! I gotta get to a phone, man. Come on.
No. I think we should stay.
Why?
So I'm in the dumpster already.
I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name.
How could he find us?
Heat-seeking missiles, bloodhounds, foxes, barracudas.
I'm kind of flabbergasted when you say things like that. It's weird.
Thank you. Not a compliment.
You're in the jungle now, baby. Thug life.
Highway skulls and bones, sticks and stones and seed and bombs, running when we hit 'em.
I can't see it, but kick out the window, isn't that what they do? Gotta get pulled by groin. Get your foot out of there.
Dear friend, I haven't really talked to anyone outside of my family all summer, but tomorrow is my first day, and I really want to turn things around this year.
You know, they say if you make one friend on your first day, you're doing okay.
Hey, freshman Toad! Look at him! Come on, hop! Let's move it, boys!
If my English teacher's the only friend I make today, that would be sort of depressing.
So, Charlie, this is what fun looks like.
Welcome to the island of misfit toys.
Do you like football?
Love it. Be aggressive! Passive aggressive!
What is she doing?
Don't worry, she does it all the time.
Do you think if people knew how crazy you really were, no one would ever talk to you?
Come on, let's go be psychos together. So what are you gonna do when you get out of this place?
I really want to be a writer, but I don't know what I'd write about.
You could write about us.
Call it Slut and the Falcon. Make us solve crimes. C-, ladies and gentlemen, I am below average! Below average!
Why do I and everyone I love pick people who treat us like we're nothing?
We accept the love we think we deserve.
You see things, and you understand. You're a wallflower.
I didn't think anyone noticed me. I know there are people who say all these things don't happen. I know these will all be stories someday. But right now, we are alive. And in this moment, I swear, we are infinite.
You see how the men's shirts glow more than the women's dresses?
Yes.
Do you know why?
Why?
Tide.
The washing powder.
The fluorescence in the washing powder is caught by the UV light.
Why do you know that?
The universe is expanding. If you reverse time, then the universe is getting smaller.
All right.
What if I reverse the process all the way back to see what happened at the beginning of time itself?
Wind back the clock.
Wind back the clock until you get the universe born from a black hole exploding.
It's called motor neuron disease. Life expectancy is 2 years.
The brain. What about the brain?
The brain isn't affected. Your thoughts won't change. It's just no one will know what they are.
I could walk out, but I won't.
If you don't get up, I won't come back here again. Ever.
I wish someone take my place. Can't face
This is going to be a very heavy defeat.
I know what you'll think, that I don't look like a terribly strong person, but I love him. And he loves me. We're going to fight this illness together. Good luck.
Your black hole theory is brilliant.
To the esteemed Dr. Stephen Hawking.
He will never speak again.
Yes, he will.
My name is Stephen Hawking.
It's American.
Is that a problem?
One never knows from where the next great leap forward is going to come.
There should be no boundary to human endeavor. However bad life may seem, While there is life, there is hope.
You're watching Spinnaker Television.
And we're back here, center court with Matthew Driscoll. Coach isn't here. I'm here. Ryan, Alex Gatlin. NCAA tournament. I was on a cruise, so you got to fill me in. I was like, I heard about the UNF game. Don't really want to get into that. 30-point loss. That was rough. But other than that, we'll talk about the NCAA actual tournament. All I really know, Michigan State, man. What happened with them? You had them winning?
I had Michigan State as my team that won the entire thing.
I would have probably done that.
Yeah,
they were a good team coming in.
And they're a great tournament
Even
team.
Coach said, watch out for them.
Michigan State, they've got Valentine in there. He's a great player, but they lost to a 15 seed in the first round, and that put a lot of people out of that Warren Buffett trying to win however many bucks he was putting up for it. Decision. So
yeah, that was tough.
That was tough. That was tough for me because I was trying to win that. I was trying to win.
You wouldn't be on the show anymore if you.
No. We'd be doing this somewhere else.
I do this. We do it for somewhere else.
Yeah.
We'd have it on the water somewhere.
We'd still have it for Spinnaker, but we'd do it for somewhere else. But other than that, I think another great story that came out of this was the Yale team. They played very, very well, and they almost beat Duke to make it to the Sweet 16.
That would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting.
That would have been very interesting. Yeah, like I said, I've been very impressed. I turned on the Wisconsin game. That buzzer beater was out of control. Out of control. It was Xavier, correct? They beat.
I believe so. Yeah.
Xavier they beat. So like I said, I'm not really up to date from the first round, but the Sweet 16 matchup. Who do you have now? I mean, now that Michigan State's out,
Michigan State's gone.
Oregon's still going, right? Oregon's still there, number 1 seed. I don't see them as a 1 seed. I don't see this as it's a very weak.
All the 1 seeds are still in it.
Yeah.
All the ones. So that's a good thing for most people's brackets because some people just go off the 1 seeds.
Yeah.
I think my knee-jerk reaction is to go Kansas because they are the overall number 1. But I'm going to go with North Carolina. I think North Carolina has the most talent on their team this year. Page is a great point guard. He really gets in there and dishes out some great assists. So I think North Carolina is going to come in and really take over this tournament. They're playing Indiana, so it's a great old-fashioned type of game. North Carolina versus India, two powerhouse programs.
Absolutely.
After Indiana just knocked off Kentucky, another powerhouse program. So that was a really
that was
a
rough year for them. I think
It
Kentucky.
was.
Probably your weaker Kentucky years because you have those one and done guys, and I guess it didn't get it done for Calipari this year.
Sometimes it works when you get Anthony Davis, and sometimes it doesn't work when you get what's his name, the one who stayed all 4 years. I can't remember off the top of my head.
A Kentucky guy that stayed 4 years? I have no idea.
But anyways, Kentucky had a rough time this season.
Yeah.
Even Calipari was complaining about their seed. I think 4 was a good seed for them, probably a little generous.
And he lost, so he shouldn't be complaining. But
exactly.
Moving on, I wanted to talk about a guy, Ben Simmons, probably the number 1 draft pick in the NBA from LSU. He went to LSU, and he looked great, man. He looked great.
Yeah.
We played him. But my question to you...
43, right?
43 against UNF, I believe. But my question to you is, if you're the number 1 player in the country, are you going to see more of these trends of them going to not as good schools? Because if you look at a player like Karl Anthony Towns, okay, 12 points, 10 rebounds he averaged at Kentucky. First overall pick, looks like a great pick. But you have Ben Simmons averaging 25 and 12 and like 8 assists, 4 assists, 19, I totally got that one wrong. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is he's having great numbers in college where Karl Anthony Towns didn't because he was around better players. Do you see players going to smaller schools like LSU? I mean, they didn't even make the tournament this year.
I think that's the biggest thing, that they did not make the tournament. The NCAA tournament is the biggest platform for college basketball. How can you showcase your skills, when the nation isn't watching half the season? So I think we won't see this trend of players going to small schools. Of course, there's always going to be, one guy who's like, I'm going to go here because I love, like.
Why did he go to LSU?
It
just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, what are they? They had Shaq. That's it. That's like
they had Shaq. They had Glenn Davis.
Big baby Davis.
But I think really it's going to come down to who can get me the most exposure. The programs like Kentucky, the programs like North Carolina, Indiana, Those programs are going to get you the most exposure that you possibly can and have these scouts see you for what you really are. It doesn't matter what stats you put up because that's going to happen in the NBA either way.
Yeah.
Either you put the stats up or you don't in the NBA. In college, they're going to look for the fundamentals. They're going to look for whether or not you have the athleticism. Stats, you see, you've got great players who've had great stats. BYU guy.
Yeah, for that. I know what you're talking about, but
so we'll see.
Yeah,
I
but
think,
he's going number 1 though. Still, you think?
I think he's still going number 1.
Okay. I see it too.
Even with his academic issues that he's had.
Yeah, he's had some issues with that, and that's my kind of thought: is you go into LSU, you know you're the best player in the country. Do you try at school? I mean, you're leaving in 1 year. And that's my thing, is that's why I think they should move it to 2 years. And I think they really need to work on that. Would he go to LSU if he knew he had to stay there 2 years? I don't think so. I think he'd go to a Duke or a Kansas.
I can't see why you wouldn't do that because if you're going to be there for a while, you want to win.
Exactly. I hope so.
I would want to win.
And maybe that shows a little bit about Ben Simmons' character.
Maybe it does.
I mean, academic issues, going to a school that he could show himself that he's the best player, and then he doesn't care if we win. Granted, they didn't have a very good coach, but I mean, it's not a Coach K or anything, but we'll see how it goes. I think he still goes 1, though. So we'll see. We got some ballers and dudes coming up right now, Alex. Let's see.
We do.
What you got? Alex has this like a week ago, so I gotta catch up. Here, you go first.
I'll go first. Well, I'm gonna go back to my guy from Yale, Makai Mason. I can't spell his first name, so I'm not gonna even try. Makai Mason came in. And he looked like the J.J. Redick of the Ivy League. He absolutely tore it up. If you look at his season that he had a pretty stellar season for a sophomore. Led the team in scoring. He just had his bravado about him that was captivating, and I loved watching him play. So I'd like to see him make the tournament again next year. I'd love to see Yale and see if they can make another run because they almost did beat Duke. So who do you have?
I got Brock money. Brock Osweiler. He cashed out, man. He played 7 games in the NFL and right behind Peyton Manning, and the Texans signed him for a big contract. I think it was like $80 million or something like that, $75 million. Played 7 games, and he got that money. So I don't know how he's going to do. He's going to be playing against the Jaguars. He's going to be their starter. He's got to be.
Yeah.
It's a big roll of the dice on a guy who played 7 games. I think he got his money, and I don't know if he deserved that money, but we'll see how it goes with Brock Osweiler. What about you? What's your dude? Your dude of the week?
Oh, my dude could have been a baller. They were a baller at the beginning of the week, or the beginning of last week, but then they totally messed it up.
They had a killer buzzer beater, man. I don't know.
They did. But Northern Iowa was up by 10 with less than a minute left, and somehow or another, they found a way to lose. It blows my mind. I've seen it happen like once or twice at the high school level. I don't think I've ever seen it at the college level for a team to collapse like this.
Well, they just they fouled and they just came back?
No, they just threw the ball right to Texas A&M. They had a chance to knock off the number 3 seed in their bracket, and they squandered it away. They had a chance to go to the Sweet 16, hang up a banner that says, "Hey, we did well in the tournament," and poof, it's gone.
You should have coached them.
I should have.
He should have been playing for them, probably.
I should have.
That's probably what it would.
Northern Iowa, send me a scholarship.
I got Brian Anger. So the Jags drafted Brian Anger as a punter, Alex's favorite position apparently, punter, with a
most undervalued position in the NFL.
3rd round pick, and Brian Anger is now he signed for the same exact money that we offered him for the Buccaneers. So I guess like Brian Anger's done with the Jags. So maybe it was Gene Smith that I should have put down here, the old GM that drafted him.
I'm perfectly fine with getting rid of Brian Anger.
Yeah, no,
Brian Anger was. We wasted a 3rd round pick on him, and he didn't do anything for us. He
was rated like the best player on the Jags for a couple of years, though, in Madden and stuff like that.
Yeah, we know how far that goes for us. Brian Anger angers me. That's why I love that pickup so much, is that we get rid of Brian Anger. We get rid of his attitude. He's a punter.
You love punters,
I
though.
do love punters because they can really change the pace of a game, but he's a punter, and he was demanding. Man, it's so frustrating for me with Brian Anger.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to take a break for like a week. We'll be back in a week. Alex is going to be, right when we get done with this, he's going to be planning because it's his show next week. So We'll be back next week. Alex is so excited. I'm Ryan Hennessy. Alex Gatlin. We're gonna have a guest on next week, right, Alex? We'll have someone.
Yeah, we'll have somebody.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Spinnaker Television. Ryan Hennessy. Center Court. Alex Gatlin signing out. Have a good week, Ospreys.